Hey guys and gals, welcome back to another Vinny Vid Productions video. Hi, I'm Vinny and I will be your host. Today's video is going to be a Vinny Built Structures video. You guys heard me speak about my lumber facility and all the stuff I want to do up there. Well, I need to build at least 2 major projects and then a couple of smaller projects in between. So, we're going to be concentrating on maybe 2 builds, I'm not sure yet, but the first one is going to be the debarker building. And I will show you the materials that I am using and all of that kind of good stuff. So, without further ado, let's get on down to the bench and let's see what's going on. We'll be right back. Bye. This video is brought to you by Miniature Industries, unique products for your model railroad. These unique kits are available in N scale, HO, S, and O scale. For more information on these kits, visit his website, link will be in the description. And don't forget to use the code 15 at checkout for a 15% discount. Okay guys, what you're looking at now is a mock-up that I had on the layout, and I'll show you a couple of pictures of that. But as you can see what the measurements are, it was 60 feet from side to side. It was 20 feet tall and with 15-foot walls on the sides plus this opening, and the total length was 50 feet. There will be some changes to these sizes. I think the only thing I'm going to keep is actually the width, the length and the height, and all of that stuff's going to change. So, without further ado, let's get over to the other camera and let's see what's going on. Okay, we're at the other bench now. And, like I said, this is what we're going to build, but we're going to change a few things on it. Get that out of the way for now. Tools, scale ruler, regular steel ruler, another steel ruler, triangle, and pencil, of course, X-Acto knife, wherever that might be hiding somewhere on the bench. There it is. And new blades. I always start a build with new blades. Okay, so let me show you the material we're going to use. This is Evergreen. I've only used their products. They got lots of products that you guys, if you don't know about them, check them out. evergreenscalemodels.com. I do not get paid for that. It's just that I like their products, and I think if you guys try it, you might like it also. Anyhow, this is number 4528. It's metal siding, 80,000 spacing, and it's 40,000 in thickness. Now, the reason why I picked that is because I want to try and emulate the structures that are already built, which is the Walters lumber mill. So, here is what the product looks like. I guess you guys can see that. Let me see if I turn the other camera back on. Maybe. Hold on, guys. Yeah, there you go. You can see the texture on there, right? Yeah, there you go. It's the same texture as what's on there. So this might be off by a 0.5 millimeter or something like that, but it is so close nobody's going to notice the difference. Alright, back to the other camera. There we go. Now, the next thing I need to do is, once I got the material picked out, some of my tools that I'm going to use. This is not all the tools I'm going to be using. There'll be others. Like I said, some of the dimensions from this building are going to be different when I build the final product. it's still going to be 60 feet across. That's the only thing that's going to be the same. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Now, it's still 60 feet across, but instead of being 20 feet tall, it is now 25 feet tall. And instead of the walls being 15, they are now 18. The door is 12 by 12. I don't know the pitch angle. I'm just going to tell you that's 25 feet down to 18 feet. Now, I told you that the length on this was 50 feet. Now, this is a log, and this log is close to 50 feet. Guess what? If I build it at 50 feet, it doesn't have any room inside for machinery. So, instead of this wall being 50 feet, this wall is going to be 80 feet. I didn't write that down, but it is 80 feet. So, with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start cutting this stuff out now. You guys remember I had a tool that I used to use a lot of, which was the nibbler, and that's what I'm going to be using to cut the doors out. So, with that being said, I'll be back in a few minutes because I need to run out and get my nibbler. It's out in my shed. So we'll be back here in a few minutes. Okay guys, got a little anxious on this one and I messed it up, so I'm going to have to cut a new wall out. I won't throw this piece away, it'll be good for something else. Now what I need to do is cut out my doors. So, I mentioned the nibbler, and this is the nibbler. This was given to me by a friend, Eric, many years ago, and it is awesome tool. There is a lock that holds it closed, because if you don't, you could, I don't know how, but you might be able to get hurt because there is a blade inside of there. And a very easy tool to use. You line up this edge or this edge with your line that you want to cut, and you just proceed to cut. So, I'll show you the first one here, and I think you can see that I'm right on the line right there, and I just squeeze and it cuts. Okay, now you got to get rid of the little pieces in there so it cuts better, and what you do is you just keep on going like your little ever ready battery guy. Grab it. Alright, and so now when we get to the top, I'll show you what we need to do up there. But I think that this is a lot straighter and a nicer cut than using your knife. Although I have used my knife plenty of times. So, let's see, come on, get in there. There you go. Alright, as you can see, I'm almost at the top right there. Can't bang too hard on this desk, there's glass under there. Alright, and right there on that line, boom. Now, there's two ways I can do this. I can go up this side and then go across, or I can go across from here and then go down. It doesn't make a difference. I could do it any way I want to. So I'm just going to continue this, and we'll see how it works out. Okay guys, there you go, cutting the door out. Now I messed up here. I could still straighten that out, just draw another line, make the door instead of 12, make it 15 foot, don't matter. I'll do the same for this, and I'll do the same for the door on this, and then I'll bring you back when that's done. Stay tuned, be right back. Okay boys and girls, what you're looking at now is a mock-up of the building I was just showing you guys that I was going to build. And I took it out to the layout, all mocked up like this to make sure it's going to fit, that I don't have to make any adjustments on this wall right here. You see I got a people door down here. This is going to go facing the building, the first building. So this side here is where the logs will come in. It'll go through the debarker in here and then scoot over to here and come out here and go into the next building. That's the way I think it works. I did look up to see how big some debarker machinery is, and there's all sorts of sizes and stuff on that, so I'm sure that this will work out. Anyhow, what I'm going to do now is I am going to remeasure everything, because this wall here I think is a little bit proud of the 18 feet, and it's okay here, and I think it's a little proud back here in the corner, so I got to adjust all of that. Once that's adjusted, I'll show you how I'm going to put the actual building together, and then we'll go from there. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Okay, guys, we are back. Now, I have trimmed all my walls. Everybody is nice and pretty at 18 feet. And we are going to start putting this guy together. So, how I do it is, first of all, when you cut plastic, you're always going to get this ridge. So we need to sand that down. Let me see, I got sand right here. It's going to work. No, where's the other one? I guess we can use this. So we're just going to just run down here like this. This is on the inside of the project. Okay? So I already did that on the rest of these. So what we're going to do is, you have to determine if you want your, I call this the front wall. If you want your front wall to sit over the side wall, or if you want the side wall to sit over the front wall. I like my front wall sitting over my side walls. So, with that being said, what I do next is I have these, come on, 60 by 60 thousandths rod that I will put along each edge of the side walls, and that'll give me support to mount the front wall. And I did find some of my tools that I used to use doing this stuff, and so let me bring that tool out here. Just stuff out of the way. Sorry guys, I didn't want to show the tool until now. So, okay. Alright. You guys remember that tool? Huh? Hey. Yeah, it was funny when I found this. Oh, how cool this is. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put these on the corners, and the reason I brought this out is because I think it's a little bit better than using that, but I'm going to put it on here and just make sure it's flush on the edge so I get a nice clean corner. Alright, so let's, again, my Fowler glue. You know what's funny is the edges wear off, the paint wears off really quick. I don't have this glue very long. Here's what I was looking for. Okay, let me get a little this glue going. That's already gone. Cool. Alright, so basically we're just gonna put some glue on there. You just take this and put it onto there like that. Now these are for the inside corners. Once all four corners are together and all four walls are together, I'll show you what I do on the outside. And then, if you look, you get a nice clean edge. Okay, so I'm going to do that to this guy also. I'm going to let that dry before I do the other side, but I'm going to do this side now. This glue, I like using this glue because it gives you that a little extra time to work with it. But when it dries pretty solid. Alright, that's 2. Alright, and this is going to be number 3. I had not decided on what kind of roof I'm going to put on this. I don't know. I got to look at some other structures, some prototype structures, and see what I can do. Because whatever it is, I'm going to have to scratch build it. Alright, so let's see. Where's the hair come from? Alright, and this is the last one. Now these corner pieces are a little bit proud, and that's no problem. I could trim them before I put everything together. I'll trim them down. But yeah, that's not a problem at all. But now I have all 4 of my corner reinforcements done. I'll give that a few minutes, and then we'll go ahead and put these guys together. Alright, so stay tuned. We'll be right back. Okay, guys. We are going to attempt to put this building together. So I have it pretty much set up on here. But I changed the type. Something's under here. I'm going to use different adhesive. I'm going to use this Tamiya, and this is a quick setting, and the reason I want to do that is because it's kind of pulling away at the top here, and I have to make sure there's no support holding it up. There's just these, unless I try one thing. I have not tried this yet. Maybe this will work. I put this up higher. No, see, it's just pushing it more away. But anyhow, I just put this on there like that, and this is very liquidy, very liquidy. So let me get this where I want it to be. It's a quick setting, so as soon as I put it on there, it's done. Yep, there it is. Perfect. Alright, I know I said it's quick setting, but I'm still going to give it a chance to cure up a little bit before I move this, because now I have to turn it 90 degrees or 180 degrees, whichever, and put it on this side of the board instead. So I'll just do all of that off camera, and I'll bring you back when I start, and I'll show you what I do to the outside corners. Stay tuned, be right back. Okay, boys and girls, this is what we have so far. This is my debarker building. As you can see, I got a peephole door, and the logs, after they're debarked, will come out this door and go into the next building. Not bad so far. The roof, I'll show you that on the other camera, but the roof is going to be a metal roof. No windows. This is just going to be a steel shed, steel outbuilding or whatever. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put, let me take this off, this number 292, and it is an angle, as you can see, and I will do the corners. Now this is pretty strong just the way it is, and I also, when I do a building, I always check how square it is when I get done with it. So, but how I do that is a whole carpenter's trick, I guess. I measure from this corner to this corner, and then I measure from this corner to this corner. If they match, I have a square building. I did that with this, and this was off by maybe a 64th of an inch. So I am not going to worry about that. Anyhow, these will go on here on the corners, like that. But I'm also going to do this along the bottom. See if I can do that so you can see it. And it'll make it look like it's a concrete footing that this building is sitting on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera, and I'll bring it back when that's done. I might even put a color on the building, and we'll bring it back, and we'll finish it up in the next video. By finishing it up, I mean I have to do the roof. I have to scribe all these lines here, and then put plastic strips to make it look like a metal roof. Anyhow, let me get going on that, and I'll bring you back in a few minutes. Okay, boys and girls, welcome back to the bench. What you're looking at now is the completed debarker building for my lumber mill facility. I didn't think I was going to get it finished in this one video, but apparently I did. Now this little guy here, that was a happy accident. I wasn't planning on putting this here, but what happened was when I cut the door out on the main wall, I made it too big and I couldn't fit that little door in there. So rather than disassemble everything and do a whole new wall and stuff like that, I said, why don't I just add a little addition? And so I did. So there you go. So now this is painted in a cheap primer that I got from Walmart. I think it looks good. The roof was painted in Tamiya gloss aluminum. But I think I messed up in a few places. Like along the ridge line here, I messed up with the glue. I got a little sloppy with the glue. I didn't make the grooves deep enough for my strips to go in. So when I put the glue, it was kind of going all over the place. So as I was going along, I realized, okay, so I'll make the grooves deeper, and that helped out a lot. This is not glued down yet. But anyhow, there you go. Okay, boys and girls, you have seen how I put together the first building, which was the debarker. This is going to be the second building, and since you saw how I put the first building together, I think there would be nothing new on putting this together. The only thing is, I am going to use some of the parts from the kit. This one wall I'm going to use because it is a complete wall. And then this here I'm going to use also, but I had to make it longer so it would fit with this wall. It's going to go in this area like that. So I'm going to go ahead and put all of this together, and when it's together, I'll bring you guys back. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a few. Okay, boys and girls, welcome back to the bench. As you can see, I have made a lot of progress since I've been off of camera. Windows are in, it's painted. This, like I told you guys, it was a primer gray. And also the windows are a darker primer gray, and they worked out very well as far as the colors go. Building worked out really good. And if you remember on the original kit, this part right here was part of that cupola. I call it a cupola. So I have to extend these walls out to make it fit in the space that I have. I also, because the plastic on the kit is a lot more thick and more rigid than the plastic I'm using. Now I'm using 40 thousandths. This is more like 80 thousandths. So what I did to compensate for the flimsiness is I added 4 corner gussets, I guess you want to call them. But yeah, you can see them in there. So that really stabilized the entire building. I didn't think I was going to get both builds done in 30 minutes, but what helped me out is I showed you the process in the first build. This build is exactly the same, except the only difference with this is going to be the roof. And I'll show you how the roof is going to be done, and then I will finish this 2-build series up, and we'll be done with some of the structures in the lumber facility. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Okay, boys and girls, we're back, and this is my roof for this particular build. This is nothing more than masking tape, and I marked it off at 4 feet intervals and just overlap it like they would do on a real roof. The only thing I got to do now is finish the ridge, and then I will cut these and had them come under the bottom of the roof, just so to prevent any lifting up later on. Basically really easy. You know, sometimes when you're lazy, it doesn't help, because what happens is you got to wind up doing something twice. This here is ready for me to cut all of these and then give this a coat of paint. I have an idea for the color of paint I'm going to use there. But what I'm talking about being lazy is I needed to cut those gussets out I showed you just a few minutes ago, and I used this piece of plastic. Well, guess what? This piece of plastic was just laying there like that. So I said, okay, here's a piece of plastic I could use. This was the roof for this part. You see? It fits there perfect. I had it all cut out and ready to go. So, Now, I did try to find some research on this, but everything was saying it was measured in square feet. I'm trying to find out the length of this tar paper. Now, the only one I found said it was 72 feet on a roll. So, if that's the case, then I need to put a couple of joints on here. I don't know. I'll see after I get it painted how it looks and so on and so forth. But anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and finish the roof, cut a new piece of plastic, finish this roof, put the building together, and give you a finale on both builds. Alright, talk to you later. Okay, boys and girls, we are back, and this is building number 1. I decided I wanted to change the roof on it. I wasn't really happy with it, so I did this metal siding for the roof, and also I need to put a ridge vent up here, I guess is what they call it, and I need to trim this down a bit because this is really thin. The corrugated metal sheet of plastic is really thin, so I need to support it, so I put these under here, but I need to trim them down here so they fit a little bit better on here. But that's building number 1. And now, on this video, this last part of the video, is building number 2. This piece up here, you guys know that was from the original kit. I had to extend the walls on it to make it fit. This metal siding that I just showed you on the other building was not long enough, so I had to make it splice in there. That's why you see that line, but that'll get covered up with some sort of rust or something. This here is the original kit wall. This door assembly right here is a 3D print. It's pretty cool because they are, the back part, the door part, is separate from the framework. Excuse me. And people door. Also, on this one here, I did a tar roof, a tar paper roof, and I painted that with Tamiya rubber black. I think it's a little bit better than flat black or glossy black or whatever. And this again is the same material as the first building that I showed you. Anyhow, these 2 buildings will be put on the layout, and they will fulfill all the buildings that I need, all the large buildings I need for my lumber facility. And now it's just a matter of a couple of small little items to build. Okay guys, welcome back out to the training room, and I'll give you a quick tour of what these buildings look like now. Here is the debarker. Then the logs will come into here, get debarked, blah blah blah, come out here, go into this building, which is the first building that'll cut the logs into planks, wood chip burner. Then from this building, it will go to this building that's going to cut the dimensional lumber. And then here is my kiln. And then finally the last building that's going to produce the plywood. Anyhow, that's my lumber facility. As you can see up there, I'm in the process of making a wood chip loader. And I kind of kick-bashed that. I showed that in one of my previous videos. And this is what it looks like going down the line. Anyhow, Hope you guys and gals enjoyed this video. And as always, your questions, comments, input, subs, shares, and likes are always welcome. For now, that's all, folks. Vinny Vid Productions out for now. Bye.